Thanks everybody for showing up today. We're into February already, if you can believe that. And this is already our third webinar, so we're pretty excited about that. I want to thank Christine for agreeing to do today's talk. This was, if you were not at the conference last year, this was one of the presentations that I had people coming up to me saying, this needs to be required viewing for not just brewery owners, but anybody running a business who wants to make their place a place that people want to be, both as a customer and as a worker. So while I have you here, I just want to remind everyone that we are gearing up for legislative session. And if you are following along, please check out freedomforbeer.com. That is our legislative website. Or freethebrew.com, either one. We've got some exciting things we are hoping to try to get done this year, and we will be looking to everybody for support and help on that. And also, this will be recorded, and so it'll be available if you do need to pop off or you missed something. It'll be available on our YouTube channel, typically by the end of the day. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, and I will find an appropriate place to break in and offer them up to Christine. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Christine Denny, the president and founder of First Magnitude Brewing in Gainesville. And Christine, take it away.
All right, thanks, Sean. And thanks y'all for joining me today on this lovely Friday. And Sean, thanks to you and Josh and all the folks at the Brewers Guild who are doing all the good work, heading up to Tallahassee and pushing forward all of our initiatives. It's important, and I thank you. So today I'm going to be doing a presentation that I did have the opportunity to give in August at the Florida Brewers Guild meeting. If you all haven't been to that conference, it really is a fantastic way to meet your fellow brewing industry friends and really learn a lot and make good connections. So I enjoy giving the presentation, and I really appreciate Sean and the team for asking me to come back. But yeah, I'll be talking about creating a culture of trust and respect at your brewery. And I'll start with talking a little bit about who First Magnitude is. We are, oh, there we go, jumping around. Hopefully it doesn't go too far forward. So this is a picture we just took last month. This is our gang and our gang. We are 25 employees, and we have been around for 8 years. We're celebrating our 9th anniversary in August. And it's a great group of folks. And I just want to talk today about the work I enjoy doing with them, and the feedback and the ideas that they've given me in terms of how to be the best leader and how to have a company that I feel good about having and they feel good about being at. There we go. So we are just over 4,000 barrels. We're not a giant brewery, but we're just over 4,000 barrels, and we have we're fortunate to have a pretty good sized space. We are located just south of downtown Gainesville, and we're right next to this great place called Depot Park and along the bike trail. We have a really cool big warehouse where we obviously have all of our production equipment. We have a tap room and a fantastic tap room team. We also have our beer garden, and we have a big oak shaded beer garden with a stage, etc. And you can go and hang out and have a pint, sometimes listen to some music, and just have a good time. We also distribute. So like many of you, we do distribute. Since we started in 2014, we got into the distribution game really quickly. This actual footprint here that shows where we are is a little bit incorrect. We are not in the Volusia County area. We actually, right at the beginning of 2020, shrunk our distribution footprint. We expanded throughout more of the state, decided to shrink just at the beginning of 2020. We didn't realize how fortuitous that would be. But Our distribution footprint covers central, north central Florida. We are with Burkhart Distributors, Tri-Eagle, North Florida Sales, and now Cavalier. One of the things when we were opening our brewery and we were talking about distribution and we were thinking about what to do, we had the great fortune, me and my husband, John, who's our head brewer, we got to meet with Oscar Wong of Highland Brewing Company a few times because he's a really good friend of a friend of ours, and talked with him a lot. And a lot of what he actually said kind of helped create the roots of the company that we have now. And one of the things that he said was own your backyard and focus on the things that are close to you. And I think that that's rung true, especially as brewing and distribution has become much more hyper-local, and that's served us well. So I'm going to start with, and I do apologize, this presentation does have a bunch of words, but when I went back to it, I thought that some people may just want to read it and some people may want to listen to it and some people may want to do both. So I kept the words in, but I want to start off with what First Magnitude's core values are, because that's what this whole thing circles around, is who we are as a company and what we've built ourselves on. And number one is make the highest quality craft beer. You all know this and it shouldn't have to be said, but it does need to be said. Make the highest quality craft beer. That's your number one priority. And then hire great staff and encourage, empower, and trust them to do their jobs extremely well. And this is the words that I use whenever I'm interviewing someone and onboarding someone. We're hiring you because you're really talented, and we're bringing you on here and expecting you to do your job extremely well. And I will do, and everyone else around you will do all we can to make sure that you're able to do that. We want to maintain a reputation for being a trustworthy company that's respected and appreciated in our industry and our community. We don't need to be famous, but if somebody knows who we are and somebody talks about us, I want them to think of us as a good company, as a reputable company, as one that makes really good products and does good things. We also want to provide an excellent customer experience where everyone feels welcome, appreciated, and comfortable with our brand, our beer, and our brewery. And lastly, support our community and our environment through our business and brewing practices, our taproom events, and our corporate support and outreach. And the next section, I'm going to be talking about our work culture and our staff. And I felt that it was best to kick that off by pulling from our employee handbook. And I actually did not write this. This was written several years ago by some of our team. They wrote this, and I thought it was so good, I wanted it at front and center in our handbook. And this is what they said. How do we want First Mag to feel to our staff? We want staff to feel empowered and supported and know that they are trusted, valued, and listened to. That staff are trusted to make decisions and know that they are supported by their colleagues. That First Magnitude's core values are motivating and inspiring, that everyone feels motivated and enthusiastic to help and support our operations, that First Mag is a place where your unique personality can shine through and is appreciated, and that we're all part of the FM fam. That's what we call our team. So what is a respectful workplace? And I started this out, and this is an old photo, but I love this photo. This was years ago, and actually the little bitty in the picture is now, I think, in first grade. But we all went to laser tag, and I just love this photo because it was in the moment, and this was our gang at the time, and we were just having a blast, and everybody was who they were, and that's why I love it. But a respectful workplace is a vibe that's accepting. You can be who you are. The talk is tolerant, and I'll go back to words and how we use words and what that looks like in a workplace. That staff can be themselves, and that we support and defend each other. So not only are we saying good job, but also we're watching out for each other. We're taking care of each other. So this is actually pictures of me and John. This is us listening to music in our beer garden. And this is really important. If you're leading an organization, or you are leading a team, or you're just whoever you are in your life, it starts with your roots and your leadership. Everything starts with you. whatever comes out and whatever you're in charge of starts with who you are as a leader. And so the questions that I have are, what do you stand for? What are you doing? What do you expect? So what do you expect out of your team? What do you expect out of yourself? What do you expect out of your customers, your clients, your distributor? What do you expect? And then what do you tolerate? And by tolerate, there's obviously a wide spectrum there, but thinking of what you tolerate, your company, what do you allow to happen to your team? What do you absorb before you push back and you say, this is who we are, this is what we stand for, this is where we are. And that goes into the where do you draw the line. And I feel that being square in your feet and looking clearly and knowing who you are as a person and as a company really sets the stage for everything that's operating around you. And in the end, you stick to your core values. I do that a lot when I'm thinking through things and I'm having stuff that I have to process. I go back to who are we and what am I doing? What am I trying to do? I may not always do it right. I a lot of times really mess up, and that's okay. And that's part of my acceptance of who I am as a leader, is that I understand that my ideas are not always the perfect ones, and my approach is not always perfect, but I try my very best to stay true to who we are as a company and to, who I feel like I am as a leader. And then do you protect your staff and your brand? If when I'm thinking about when John and I are thinking about who we are as a company, and when we're thinking about what we're trying to accomplish, and it's our people and what we've created with this company. And if you're not protecting that, and if you're not watching out for that, and if you're not making sure that that is at the core of what you're trying to do, then it's very easy to get off track, and it's very easy for something to go awry. But I feel very strongly about that. Watch over your team and watch over your brand that you've worked so hard to create. And part of this is hiring. It's been really, I know a lot of folks have had a lot of challenges recently with hiring. But I will say that when you have the ability and when you have the capacity and you have the, some may call it a luxury, we actually haven't experienced a lot of hiring issues. And that's probably for a variety of reasons. But when you do have the ability to have some options in terms of who you're hiring, think about who you're bringing on and what they add to the team. It's not just filling a role. I was actually having a conversation with somebody 2 days ago in our tap room, and we were looking at, because we have a lot of students, et cetera, and school schedules and who we're bringing in. And, I really feel like when you have a certain vibe in your team and you have certain talent areas, making sure that whomever you bring in not only supports what you have going, but also adds to the group. And that shows respect for your current staff by bringing in people that can make things even better around them. If you have a lot of, so let's take behind the bar, for instance, if I have several people who are taskmasters, very focused, very, serious about their job, bringing in someone that's more light in their ways about doing things, more gregarious, that adds, and also talented in their own ways, adds in something to the team that makes it so you have this balance. And finding the balance is really important. It's not always easy, and you don't always do it right, but trusting your gut and trusting the gut of the people who are working close to you in terms of who you should bring in is important. But when it does come down to it and the chips are on the table, generally, because I've been doing this a while, I trust my feelings on who the best person is to bring to the team. And I love this photo because if you create the right team and you create the right atmosphere, you get people who can go a lot of places. And this is a really cool photo because there are a lot of these folks are in really neat places. On the left, that's my husband, John. He's still here. And then there's Ben, and Ben works for a technology company. Arthur, who started our lab program and really hacked our entire lab, which is I'm so impressed with the lab that we have. He's with USDA, and he has his PhD, and he does all kinds of work in yeast, et cetera. I mean, he's incredible. Lane in the kayak is a financial manager. Eric in the white t-shirt is our production manager. Scott and the Green is now one of the lead brewers at Burial up in Asheville. Big Jim Barry up there in the blue is the king of lagers. And if you've not been to Barry House in Ybor City, you should go. He and Britt, his wife, are like the amazing team, and they have a fantastic brewery. I highly recommend it. Lara is working on her master's, working in the hospital, and working on her master's in psychology. Simon in the Plaid is about to head on off and start a new business with his brother. And then Steve on the right is our taproom lead. And I mention all that because we have a mixture of folks that have stayed here and then folks that have gone on. And I also want to mention that the kayak, one of the things we do for our staff, when we first started, we didn't have, the money was not, we didn't have a lot of money. So we were figuring how we could incentivize staff. And I looked at what New Belgium did with the bikes, and I said, well, hell, if they can do that with bikes, then we'll give kayaks. So if you work with us for 2 years, you can get a branded kayak, because we love to go rolling down the river, as is our branding, First Magnitude. Employee retention, trust and respect. And so when I'm this section, actually, I thought about what I wanted to say, and then I was like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So I went and interviewed all my staff, and I talked to them, and I asked them what they want out of a business and what makes them want to stay somewhere. And I asked them to look back at places they've been, where they are now. And this is what they said. They said to trust that good employees will do their jobs well. They also said to recognize and appreciate that staff choose to work for you. This next phrase was really interesting. Don't be a machine that gobbles them up and turns their choice into something they regret. Don't churn through them. If you treat staff as tools, they'll perform as tools. Respect that staff have lives outside of work. That is very important to me. Allow people to be themselves. And this is the other part that came out repeatedly: hold people accountable and follow up. Everybody I talked to in one way or another brought up accountability, and it is really important to them. If you have an organization that everybody's like, yay, we're great, that's great, until you need to follow up with someone and make sure that they're doing what they're being asked to do. And if they're not, it creates all kinds of issues across the board, because the folks that are working really hard look at that and say, wow, they're not really being held accountable. Or if someone wants to get better and you've asked them to do certain things, they may want to have sidelines and guidelines that help them understand what they need to do to move forward. Because I feel like my role as a leader is to help people move forward, and to move forward in our organization, or if they need to move forward and go somewhere else, that's great too. But I want to make sure that their journey here is something that helps them out in their life. Employee retention, listen. Listening to what staff have to say, and listen to input. Look for and listen to input. It's not easy to find time. It's not easy to be able to do all those things. I mean, I like all of you out there, I do all the things. I am the HR department. I am the mail comes in, I get it. I am the one that does all the things, all the bits and pieces, just like everybody does. And so, but taking the time to ask and listen to input is important. Empathize and put yourself in the other person's shoes. Be comfortable with changing your plans. You're not always right. And then win some and lose some, and be okay with it. And I have this photo here because this is a perfect example. Summer in a college town gets sometimes slow for us, and we were trying to figure out what to do. And one of our staff said, hey, why don't we do a camp, like Camp First Magnitude? And it's an adult camp, and we do giant games and drink beer. And I was like, oh, wow, that sounds really sweaty and like a lot of work. And they're like, it'll be perfect. And they came up with this idea of Camp First Mag, and it was fantastic. These are actually our chemical barrels that we cleaned, and then they spray painted them like giant beer pong. And we had all these games, and we had customers that came in teams and competed, and it was great. It was fantastic. And it was one of those situations where I was like, wow, I would never have come up with this. And I was actually pushing back against it, and it worked out. So listen to your staff and be okay with not always being right, because you're not. And that's a fact. Communication. I will admit, this is one of those things that I always say I'm going to do better, and I always work on doing better, but you can always improve. And including teams and your team in decisions, even it's just to inform them what's happening. Ask questions, use people's input. And I have this photo in here for a reason. And this is, I know everybody's sick of looking at COVID stuff and hearing about COVID stuff, but when COVID hit and our workplace became the same as everybody else's, we were staring at a lot of beer and tanks and trying to figure out what to do. We did a couple of things, and one was like people who were able to, we slammed things into cans. And then the other thing we did was our staff said, well, why don't we just let people drive into the brewery and drive through the brewery, and we can do to go that way. And I thought, Jesus, that's a insurance headache, but it ended up working out, and we actually had it so we did a drive-through at our brewery, literally drove through our brewery, changed it. We weren't using our kegs, so we had giant keg walls we built, and it was this path that you could go through. That was because our staff asked for that. But the more important thing with this photo is the masks, and there's Yo and Ben. Our staff were really serious about being COVID conscious, and they really felt like if they were coming in and they were putting themselves in this place where they were in front of the public, as we did our drive-through, that they needed to be protected. And so we implemented some of the strictest COVID protocols of any of the businesses in Gainesville. That was at the request of our staff. And we were able to keep everybody on board. We were able to keep everybody healthy. And we were able to keep everyone employed because of the creativity of them coming up with the drive-through, and because it all worked out. It was stressful. It was very stressful. I cried a lot away from everybody, but it worked out. So it's that communication. And then as we ease the COVID restrictions, the only times we had issues is when I really wasn't really clear with everybody about what we were doing and when we were doing it. So going back, small talk is great. Checking in with your staff, just saying hello, asking how someone is. You don't have to have a full conversation about their work performance every time you talk to them. Another thing, going back to Highland and Oscar Wong, when we went to visit him and meet with him before we opened our brewery, he took us through his warehouse, and Highland is a big brewery. And as he walked through, Oscar knew every single person in the warehouse. He knew their names, he waved at them, he knew something about everybody, and that really impressed me. And he just had this way about him of checking in and making sure everyone was okay. And that got into my head in terms of how we wanted to do things at our place. Give feedback and accept feedback, and don't encourage gossip or trash talk. It leads to divisiveness. This is a big deal for me. It's really sometimes hard to control, but what I tell people is it's really easy to come up with challenges and things that are bad. You know, it's easy to be negative about things. To awfulize it is what the term I use. It's easy to awfulize. The harder thing is to then say, all right, this is what is making me frustrated. This is a solution, and let's all work towards it. That's one of the things that when people are negative and they're having a hard time, I'd say, let's just stop for a second. What is a solution to this issue? And then let's just work positively towards it. That's not the easy thing to do, but it's something that can help keep the vibe positive, upbeat, and to make people, feel good about where they are. I mean, everybody works hard and everybody works close together, and having a way for people to talk things out, but also a path forward to finding some positive resolution is really important. All right, words matter. I have a lot of favorite photos. This is one of my favorite photos. So I originally proposed this talk with the idea of just kind of going on a rant about what's going on, and not just the brewing industry. It's not just the craft brewing industry. It's a lot of places, and how people are treated, and how some people are marginalized, and some people are not respected. And that was kind of where I was starting with this. I just wanted to tear into a lot of things that had really, over the years, pissed me off. I've been running this company for well, 7+ years. And before that, I did almost 20 years of environmental consulting. And you know, I've seen it. And when everything came out and talking about, oh, it's such a shock that in the craft brewing industry, there's sexism and racism and people not being treated well. I don't know how many of you were shocked. I wasn't. So I decided, instead of talking about the things, just like I said on the previous slide, that are wrong, then what I would talk about is how me and my team and our company has decided to create a place that, to the best of our abilities, and we're not perfect, but to our best of our abilities, respects each other and creates a place of trust and creates a place where people can grow. So, taking my own advice, I decided to put this presentation into a positive and show what we have tried to do. And so, going back to that, words matter. We have so much fun at this place. Be funny, but don't throw darts. Don't make it mean. If you think it's inappropriate to say, don't say it. I don't know why that's so hard, but if it's inappropriate, just don't say it. And if someone makes a mistake, just let them know it's not how we do things. Respect and celebrate each other for who people are, and speak positively of each other. We have one particular person in our tap room, Santi, and every time you walk past him, he just brightens up your day, because he's always going to say something nice about you. He always has something nice to say, and it is wonderful. And I will make it a point just to say hi to Santi, just so I can get that. If I'm having a heavy day, because he brings a lot of light. Don't make criticism personal. You're going to have to critique people. You're going to have to talk about their performance. You're going to have to talk about whatever, but don't make it personal, make it productive, and defend each other when necessary. Take care of each other. I tell our team that we are here to take care of each other and to take care of them. And if a customer comes in and does not treat you well, let me know. And we don't need their money. We don't. There's nothing that makes it so that it's okay for one of our team to be treated poorly just because someone feels like that's their right. We take care of each other and defend each other when necessary. So, on to our customers, creating a culture of trust and respect among our customers. And this is, again, our beer garden. It's one of our, I can't remember what day that was. Oh, that was Oktoberfest, I can tell by the outfits. And I go back to our handbook. So again, this is what our staff wrote. And this is, how do we want First Magnitude to feel to our customers? And number one is high quality and consistent. Going back, make good product. It's really key. And then we want to be welcoming, friendly, and inviting. We want our customers feel like they know us, that we're science and conservation oriented. First Magnitude refers to our freshwater springs. Florida is home to the largest concentration of freshwater springs anywhere on the planet. And the ones that pump out the most water, over 100 cubic feet of water per second, are First Magnitude springs. And so we nerd out on science and conservation. That's part of our branding. That's part of who we are. That's part of what a lot of our staff did before they came here. And we want people to know that that's part of our bit. We have great branding and graphics that are eye-catching and distinct, that our staff are knowledgeable and willing to share their knowledge, that you're doing good by buying and supporting our brand. And when our team wrote this, I asked them what they meant, and they said that we want people to feel like, and to know that when they come in and buy a pint from us or get a 6-pack from a store, that they are not only supporting our team of 25 people that we have here, they're also supporting all of our initiatives and all of our community work and all the work that we can do with nonprofits, all of our messaging. They're supporting that bigger thing. It's not just buying a really good beer. That everyone feels appreciated for coming to First Magnitude. I always tell our team, thank our customers for coming in, thank them for coming in, and they do. that we're a community gathering place that works and to help and support other organizations. And what does this actually mean? This is fun. This picture was actually taken this past Saturday. We had our Springs Run, and the Springs Run raises money for the Florida Springs Institute. And this was a photo taken afterwards. It was a lot of fun. I'll probably talk more about Springs Run in a minute. But what does this mean? This means that your customers have a trust in your brand. They have a trust in your team to take care of them, to not only have a team that's brewing really good beer, but when they go into your tap room, they have someone that's going to know who they are, or they're going to respect who they are, and they can be trusted. And confidence in what you stand for. We stand for the Springs, we stand for the environment, we stand for community, and people know that when they come in. Respecting your customers. So your customers choose to visit or buy your product, and you should never, ever, ever take that for granted, especially now when we're in times when money is tight. Prices have all had to go up. I don't know about you all. We had to up prices in our tap room because cost of goods is going like this. Prices are going like this. The ship is tilting in a little bit in a direction that it's hard, and we didn't want to raise prices, but like you all, we had to. But we don't take our customers for granted. We want to be there to support them, to educate them, to be kind to them, and earn their trust by bringing a brand that can be trusted. Who are you? What do you stand for? And is it consistent? And is it something that your customers want to stand behind? If the answer is yes, they'll come back. Authenticity matters. I'll qualify this. This is a graphic that we use, and we have it on a big poster in our tap room. We also use it to send out if somebody wants to know a little blurb about who we are. And unfortunately, it hasn't been updated. So we've raised over $100,000 through our Springs Run that we just had this past Saturday. It's now the largest run in the Gainesville area. It's over 600 runners that come out that run a goofball distance of 7.2K, because 72 is the constant temperature of the water in the springs, and our pale ale is called 72. We've raised over $100,000 for their Springs Watch Citizen Science program. We were the Southeast first carbon neutral brewery through a partnership with We Are Neutral. We've moved, it's probably well over 50,000 pounds of trash from our local creek cleanup. And we've raised thousands of dollars for imperiled butterfly species through the butterfly project that we do with the Florida Museum of Natural History. There's just a lot of things that we do as a company and we stand behind. So that's our identity. That's who First Magnitude is. So the question to you is, who are you? What is your identity? What are you? So if you make products that you can stand behind, going back to quality, back up your identity with your actions. For whatever your branding is, whatever your identity is, back it up with your actions. If you pop from one thing to another, it's a lack of confidence in who you are as a company. If you're kind of smattering all over the place with your branding, with your what you're doing in terms of your community outreach support, if it gets confusing, and with your messaging, with your voice, and I'll get into that in a second, then people don't understand it. So be who you are, stand behind it, and make it work for you. Because your brand has a currency, and people expect certain things when they look at your brand. This is, marketing 101, but your brand is your brand, and that is who you are. You are not the person next to you. You're not the brewery down the street. You're not the brewery, across the country. You are who you are. And I always feel like standing square in who you are and not looking around and worrying about everybody else is really important. So to that end, for us, it's our graphics, it's our cans, it's our posts, it's our marketing, it's our words, our tone, our voice, the subjects we choose to cover in our social media, in our newsletters, how you designed your space, your product quality and styles, the customer experience, and the partners and organizations you support. Stepping back to what I was talking about before, it really does matter who you are as a company, and the things that you do, and the graphics you put out, and the words you say. It matters. If I could tell everyone to stop putting offensive crap on their cans and their branding and marketing, I would, but that's who they are and that's what they stand for. And that's not, I as a company have chosen to do the things that that we're doing, and to be different from that. What is your voice? How does it resonate with your target customers? How does it resonate with your staff? Our staff like who we are. Our staff like what we say. Our staff like what we support. They feel good about that, and it's things that they back. Does that appeal to everybody? No, we interview people and it's very clear that they're like, no, this isn't the place for me. And that is absolutely okay. We don't have to be everything to everybody. But to the people who are here, we want to be a company that they say, yeah, this is my place. This is my home. This is what I feel is important. So your graphics, your can art, your beer names, what do they say about your company? And what does that say about you all? And this is our entire team. So we as a team come up with these things and work together. And I love the creativity. I love the sheer, you know, we're in the brewing industry. It's people come up with some really neat stuff. And it's fantastic to be able to put it on a can and celebrate it. So your branding, your images, your words, it all matters. And your voice, and what I mean by a voice is what you sound like in your social media, what you sound like in terms of how you present your branding. What is that tone? What is that voice? And be consistent with it and have it represent who you are. Your partners. So we work with a lot of cool partners. And so we choose our partners based on what a lot of the things that us and our team is interested in. And so we have this, for example, here we have Pints and Predators, which we're having coming up in a few weeks, where we have a whole bunch of wildlife rehabilitators come in, and they have birds of prey, they have snakes, they have we have possums, we have all kinds of stuff, bats. And the idea is to raise awareness about these animals. And also we raise money for the wildlife rehabilitators. It's a great big year, a big day. People in parks, we have an initiative with the Florida Park Service Ranger Association where we raise money to help support park rangers in times of need. We had just recently had our Adopt-a-thon Parking Society. We did a competition where you could nominate and then vote for your pet to be on the beer can. And with that, we've raised, we're at over $50,000 over the last 2 times we've done it for the local Humane Society. And then last but not least, here's our RAIN. We have a partnership with the Florida Museum of Natural History to raise awareness and funds for imperiled butterfly species. So when you're working with these partners, what are you really doing for them? I get a little frustrated when I see folks that are saying, oh, they get a lot of PR doing something with an organization. And in the end, you find out the organization got like $50. We like to create models where the organization can really benefit from these events and from these partnerships. And we do that in a way that we make sure that we're not impacting our bottom line too much, but we are helping them out. And in return, we ask for things for them. We ask our partners to work hard to partnership with us. We ask them to bring their own creativity, their own audience to the table. And it's worked out really well for us because we have some very cool creative conservation partners and nonprofit partners that we work with. And we feel it's a win-win. They get something out of it and we do too. And that's how it should be, I think, in situations like this. It should be a win-win. Oh, sorry, more words. So I'm gonna kind of wrap this up by reading, and it's kind of plunked on here, but we, being in a college town, we send out graduation posts during graduation time. And this past year, my team asked me to write something for graduation. And I thought about it, and this is what I came up with. So if you'll bear with me, I will read it to you. And this is my advice to not only graduates, but to everybody who's out there and they're thinking about what they're going to be doing with their path forward. I feel like I'm fortunate enough to be I've had one big career before this, and I feel like I'm feeling more comfortable about this career, and I felt like I had the little things I wanted to say. So here it is. Look at every job, no matter where it lands you in your career path, as an opportunity. Try hard, ask questions, make mistakes, get better, repeat. Be the best you can be in that role and take those lessons with you as you move through life. Show up. I've talked my way into every job I have ever had. I was never the most qualified on paper, but I tried to never let anyone down if I wanted something. And if I wanted something, I worked to get it. Earn respect by being someone who should be respected. Listen to others. I do not have all the answers. I will never have all the answers. No one else has all the answers, but together we can come up with some really great answers to even the biggest challenges. It's okay to screw up. I do it all the time. Own it, learn from it, move on. Be forgiving when others do the same. And last, be kind. Always, always treat others as you hope to be treated. You can be tough, but you can also be kind. It is not easy to always be both, but you can work on it. So that's my words to anybody that's my kind of advice on how I try to live my life and try to live my work life. So with that, I am going to wrap it up. If there's questions, I'm happy to answer them. But if you have things that you want to ask about that you don't feel comfortable asking about on the webinar, on the forum, my email and phone number are here. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to talk. Sometimes I'm not the quickest responding, but I'm happy to chat if anybody has anything they want to give me advice on or talk to me about. So with that, I'm gonna hand it over. Thanks, Sean.
Sure. So if anyone has a question, you can either just sort of chime in or pop it into the chat, and we can go from there. Or if you want to, if the questions are personal or private, of a private nature, like Christine said, I can certainly put you in contact with her and you can ask her directly. Or if the things you just want to have one-on-one conversations with, that's fine too.
All right.
Anyone? Okay, so I will make this video available by the end of the day today, as well as Christine will send me this deck that she was using, and I'll make that available for everyone as well. Christine, thank you so much for taking the time to do this for us. I think this is, like we said, that this is great for breweries, but this is also really something I think that applies to any small business. These are such important topics that I think get overlooked far too often, and I think the more we talk about them, the more we can get the message out there for people. So I'm hoping that everyone is going away from this with some new ideas and perspective, and that we can continue going on.
Thanks, Christine, for taking some time out of your schedule to do this. We all appreciate it.
Thanks, good to see you.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you in Tallahassee on the 13th of March.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.